Good morning. This morning I'm going to attempt to show you how to do it in the hoop mini comp book cover. Now this is for the 3-pack I got at the Dollar Tree. Okay, and the one I'm going to show you is done in 2 hoopings, a 4x4 hooping and a 5x7. Okay, I have my fabrics all cut. I'm going to do it on felt so you can see, and I'm going to use a lighter color stitching, I hope, so you'll be able to see. This is cutaway stabilizer, and I use that to cover the inside stitches so they don't show. Okay, so first I'm going to do the tab, and I have my stabilizer hooped, and it's my 4x4. So let's do a placement stitch. Okay, I did the placement stitch for the tab. Now I'm going to take my piece of fabric and I'm going to center it right there in that square, okay, or rectangle. I'm going to give a spritz of temporary adhesive spray on the back of this to hold it in place because I don't want to use tape. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, I used the Elmer's Craft Bond. It's a temporary or a permanent bond. Sometimes I use the basting spray, but I'm out. So, and I have 2 cans of this, so this is what I'm using. Okay, I've tacked it down, or I've sprayed it down. Now I'm going to do my tack down stitch. Okay, it's done the tack down stitch. Now it's just going to do the stitches. And just FYI, I have never had this gum up my machine, and I've been using it for years. Just FYI. Okay, as you can see, it did the stitching. Now I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to put my other piece of felt on the back. I'm going to give it a little spritz of the spray so it stays in place, and I'm going to center it right here over this box. Okay, now I'm going to put it back in and do the tack down. Okay, now it's tacked it all down. I'm going to take it out of the hoop, and I'm going to trim it about 1/8 of an inch all the way around and set it aside and start the next one. Okay, so I've trimmed it and poked my hole. Well, I didn't trim that string though. Okay, now we're going to start the other half of this. Okay, I've got my stabilizer hooped, and I'm going to do my placement stitch. Okay, stitch the placement stitch, and I want to show you something. When you put your fabric here, or your material, it will almost line right in between these. But on this end down here, this is the end where the tab's going to be. If you just put it just like 1/8 of an inch over, I couldn't put a placement line there because then it wanted a bigger hoop, and I didn't want a bigger hoop. So if you just put it a tad over like that, I mean like 1/8 of an inch, you will not have to trim that piece of fabric. So you don't have to fight with it and the tab, okay? So if you just do it like that and then tack it down, okay? Okay, it's tacked it down, and see how close I am to that? A little crooked, huh? I said, huh? But now it did a little rectangle right here, and you're going to make a little slit in there so we can put our tab through, okay? Okay, I used seam ripper to start it. I did a little bit this way and then a little bit that way, and then used these little scissors to finish it. Okay. Yep, good enough as far as I know. Okay, now we're going to take our tab that we already made. Okay, so we're going to poke it through this hole, our tab. Come on. My fat fingers are not cooperating. Okay, We got through, and then we're going to pull it just to where the edge of this stitch meets the hole. See, the stitch ends there. So we're going to make it where the stitch meets the slot or slit, whatever you want to call it, okay? And then I'm going to tape it up here so it doesn't move. You can tape it from the back, but then you want to make sure you remove it because otherwise it'll stitch over the tape, and I hate when that happens. So I'm going to tape it right there, and now I'm going to do the tack down for it, and then it'll carry on and do more stitches, okay? Okay, it's did all the stitching. It's tacked down my little hand, this thing, okay? Now we're going to turn it over, and we're going to put our centerpiece, and you can see the placement line there and there. So I'm going to put that just like this and tape it in place. Tape it there, and I'll tape it here. Okay, that's taped, and that's just to cover up the stitches. You don't have to do that, but I advise you to do it. Okay, now we're going to take our two pockets, and we're going to line them up with these little tabs sticking out here. Okay, just make sure you're over this by 1/8 of an inch, okay? That's important. At least 1/8 of an inch. This one you want to be just over so you don't have to trim it, try to trim it. So I'm going to put my fabric down like this, and then I'm going to ease it over just so I know it's over the tack down line. Okay, yeah. It's got little marks right there and there, but you just want to really make sure you're over that line, okay? The last one I didn't really pay attention, and my fabric was this side of the line, so the end of my book cover did not close. All right, there we go. So we have that. I'm going to turn it back over, and I always like to press everything down to make sure my tape stays in place. Put it back on the machine and let it do the final tack down, okay? Ha! I don't know if you saw that, but I put my hoop in upside down. But I stopped it in time. Okay, there we have it. Let's do that. It's tacked down. We got our pockets, everything. So now we're going to take it out of the hoop and trim it. I'm going to take all my tape off before I do. Gosh darn it, I got this tape in the zipper, in the stitch. Come on. Okay, now I'll remove the stabilizer, and then I'll trim it as needed. I use tearaway, and sometimes the tearaway don't want to tear away always so easy. We want to cut these little strings from the placement stitches. Now you can trim that with these, but I'm going to use my rotary cutter. I'll fold this back and trim that. Okay, be right back. Now that it's all trimmed, I'm going to add my snap here and poke a hole in right there. And make sure you move that out of the way before you poke your hole, and add the other half of the snap there. Okay, I've added my snap here, there, and there. Now let me get my little book. Wherever it is. One of these other ones. Okay. it is. Pull my snap over and snap it, and there you go. There's the end.